Hi, everyone. Welcome to experiencing intelligent breakthroughs in your sports performance and life. I think you'll get a lot of value out of this. I want you to. This is essential for an athlete, especially, or anyone that's really wanting to advance their performance, to experience intelligent breakthroughs. And that is simply, we're going to work on being less distracted, our concentration being better, our focus being better, our attention being better. And if you were like that, how much better would your performance be? How much less would your performance anxiety be? What would a 25% or a 50% or 80% reduction in performance anxiety do for you and your performance, or your team's performance, your organization's performance, your workplace or environment? It would do a lot more than I think you realize. And so sometimes we put performance anxiety on ourselves because we're just expecting to do too much or achieve too much in too little time. It's just currently not able to be done. Now, when we work on our mental performance tools and skills and implementing those, nurturing, developing, building, and growing those, and as well as our life tools and skills, then sure, in the future we would be able to do it. But think of it this way: if you walked into a building and I told you to go to the library, there's a library in a building. You've never been in the building. If you go to the library, well, you've got to look around. You might have to ask somebody. You don't know exactly where it is. And your mind is diverting itself in all these different directions, looking for signs or someone to ask, or maybe you navigate through the halls, whatever. But if you've been in that building and you've been into the library, you go straight into it. Or if someone tells you to go in, take a right, then take your first left and your first right, you'll see the library. Then you'll be able to do it faster as well, right? And so all of this is energy, or its capacity. And what we cannot do is create the energy or the capacity, but it's there and we can keep it flowing. We can make it to where we are using it effectively, optimizing it the best way. And that's essential. But just imagine, like, if you were 1 millisecond quicker. Well, let's increase that or decrease that if in quickness, in the sense that, let's say that you've gotten quicker by 3 milliseconds, maybe 1 second, right? So if you're an athlete, quickness is essential. And if you're able to be quicker than your opponent, you automatically have an advantage. Also, if you're faster because of your quickness and also because of your speed, because your mind is not being distorted, so all of the capacity, the energy, the mental performance skills are flowing in the right direction, then you're going to be able to run faster in your sport. And so a lot of sports are won not by these huge, humongous plays, but by those nanoseconds and milliseconds where someone's energy and capacity is in the zone and someone else's isn't. And of course, that fluctuates with players and teams as the situation and the game goes on. However, if you're in that space to where your team or your performance is better in that regard, then you've got a very, 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 a lot better opportunity to win whatever game or match or tournament you're in, or individually or as a team or as an organization. I mean, we've seen a lot of track events. They're decided by less than a millisecond, hundreds of milliseconds, right? And then in tennis, and just think about it. Someone asked me, or actually I was talking with someone, and they were saying that, the difference between like a top ranked college player and like top 100 pro player is that with the college player, I can like get a few more games and rally a little bit better. And sometimes I can see like they're not as quick to the ball, or they're not in position as fast as the pro. Whereas the pro, I hit the ball and it's as if they're already there. And it's not because the pro is that much faster physically, but he's quicker in the mind. He's quicker in reading how the opponent hits the ball. And all these things shave time off, right? And so it just seems like he's there every time. He was like, every time I'd hit the ball, he'd already be there ready to hit it back. And then he also said that they had more spin on the ball and were able to be able to place it better with more speed. And he said that was the biggest difference. And so he would not ever get as many games off of the pro as he would someone who is a top college player. And that's understandable, but I'm just pointing out what are the mental difference. And it's mostly mental performance skills. That's where the mental performance consulting, coaching, and training comes in. And these are things that you might think, even if you're a high school player or upcoming college player, or even wanting to advance in the pros, that you're not really able to get any quicker and faster. I would say most likely you are. It's just that you're measuring it in a different way. And there are other ways to measure that to make it to where you are quicker and faster. One is reading the opponent, right? The other is anticipation. The other is obviously thinking ahead, right? You think the next shot ahead and those kind of things. And then also your patterns on the court, whether it's basketball, patterns on the football field. And these little things, just like walking into that building and finding the library, these little things, they seem like, oh, that's just a nanosecond, Raj, or that's a millisecond, or that's 3 milliseconds, or that's 5 seconds during a whole game or match. Come on, that's not going to make a difference. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, that's a minute. That's huge, huge. And you athletes out there that are the pros, you know that. And you know that if you were to do that, you would shoot up in the rankings. There's no doubt. And so what are you doing to work on that? Answer this question. Are you better today than yesterday? Each day you should be getting a little better. And so the only way we can do that is through our own belief in our ability, and then having someone else believe in us. And then also, if you're one to be spiritual in that regard, or you have a philosophy of life, that type of regard. And then eventually we're created to where, although we can do a lot on our own, we can serve, give, do, help, work with people. Eventually, we've got to learn from someone else, right? And that's what people schedule sessions with me, whether they're in person, on the court, on the field, wherever it may be. Me observing, watching a videotape, and giving them my mental performance training and coaching in that regard. And so that's essential to understand that. And it's not a long, drawn out process. Now, for you to start to nurture, develop, build, and grow it, now that process is unique for each person, but as long as you go through those stages, you'll really come out ahead. And so that's amazing to be able to understand you have the ability to be so much more. That's what neuroplasticity does with the brain. That's what the myelin does in the brain. And that's what these mental performance training and skills and coaching and consulting and life tools and skills do. Now, here's one that it's just really simple. When you're talking with someone, a teammate, yourself, or whatever, use amazing words. Stop criticizing. We know that doesn't work. And sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it. We'll look at somebody or experience something and just think, hey, this is just something that, you're having difficulty. Well, we don't need someone to really say that, because guess what? I can tell I'm having difficulty. Okay, and we might say that to ourselves, or we might say that to a teammate. Hey, you're having difficulty today. Well, both people probably notice it and are aware of it. Now, what would it be? Wouldn't it be better if you say something that is positive, something motivating and inspiring, really motivating and inspiring, really positive? Like, hey, you're getting it, you're getting it. I see, what it is. What do you think it is? Something to that effect to really help them with that response, get them through that so they can experience that breakthrough. Because that's all it is. They're experiencing a mental block most likely, unless they have a physical injury that you're not aware of. And so, or an emotional block or some other type of block. And obviously that's what I help individuals with. And for you all that have my workbook, you know that that's exactly what my workbook's working on in a very private and personal way. And of course, you schedule the sessions with me either in person or me coming out to you and observing you or watching video of you, etc. And I do the advanced tools, mental performance tools, life tools, skills, the consulting, coaching, and the training. And that is what my program is about. And some of you all have experienced that. And so that's how we can go forward in our sports performance. Now, what are some ways to really solve performance anxiety? I mean, a 25% reduction, 50%, 80% reduction. Well, one is in the morning to have a mental performance routine. So you wake up in the morning, and what I do, for example, is I set up breakfast, and then I sit down on my meditation cushion, close my eyes, and I literally go through my whole day in chronological order. What will I do in the morning? I know that I'm stretching. I'm working on my ball handling in basketball. I have an appointment with the exercise functional physiology trainer. I'm taking my mom to physical therapist. Then I'm going to buy lunch. And then I'm going to meditate. And then I'm doing research. And then I am at 3 o'clock, I pray. And today at 3:30, I did my first Facebook Live session. And now at 4, I'm doing the second one. And then this evening, I will go for a walk because today is one of my light days. And then I have a meaningful trigger set up for this evening. And hopefully there'll be I'm not sure exactly. I think the NBA playoffs aren't on tonight. So I'll find something meaningful trigger to look forward to. Actually, it'd be refreshing to have a little break now. My 76ers didn't make it, so I wasn't too pleased about that. But we're getting there, and we're mastering that process, because as we master the process, we'll get the outcome we're going after. We can't really control the outcome. We can control the process, and as we master the process, the outcomes will take care of itself. So that's where we really need to focus on, and that's another reason why you might be experiencing performance anxiety, is you're too focused on the outcomes. And so therefore focus more on mastering the process and how to actually make it better, a little bit better maybe each day. We're always tweaking or making little adjustments. Like when you're driving in a car, you just make slight adjustments, not much, so that you can go where you need to go. And so that's essential, right? I mean, you look at all athletes. Tiger Woods, he redid his golf swing. And you look at Michael Jordan, he decided to lift weights so he could play better, and he was concerned that if he lifted weights he'd mess up his shot. So that was one of the things he worked with his trainer on. You look at Roger Federer. Roger Federer is really coming through that backhand now. It used to be that Nadal would attack that backhand and he was just happy to get it back, but now it's almost as big a weapon as his forehand. And so that's one way. Now, the other thing is because you all are athletes, and this is what I do because these are the sports that I play in, is after I do that chronological order, that's my day. It's in my mind. So I don't miss a nanosecond of, wait, what am I supposed to do next? Or a millisecond or several seconds or minutes. I know what I'm supposed to do. And just by knowing, although I'm not creating time, my brain thinks and feels like it is. It keeps me calm, relaxed, almost like taking a deep breath in a way, because I just know exactly how my day's going to go. Now, does some things happen to where it doesn't go like that? Of course, there's always unexpected successes or something unexpected that's, something that we need to take care of. And my athletic trainer or my exercise physiology trainer asked me this, well, when you're doing this, what happens if something interrupts you? And I'm like, unless it's an emergency, I delay it. Okay. And I say to them, let me finish this and I'll get in touch with you in how many ever, 30 hour later or whatever it may be. So I don't let anything interfere with this unless it's an emergency. Now, since I play basketball, competitive basketball, tennis, and I run track, I next work on my basketball. And when I work on my basketball, I am literally working on either imagining players and teammates and working on certain ball handling moves or shooting. I've shot every shot on the basketball court literally in my mind, literally. And it doesn't take a long time to do. And I do it right-handed and left-handed. It's pretty amazing. And you know what? If you want, you can play one-on-one with whomever you want to play one-on-one against. Or you can pick a team and play them. So that's what I do with basketball. I do the same thing with tennis. I've hit every shot in tennis. And as you're playing basketball or whatever your sport is or tennis, all of a sudden your mind will feel like, wait a minute, I'm already familiar with this. Sort of like I know where the library type thing is. Oh yeah, I've hit that type of overhead, or yeah, I've shot that fadeaway, whatever it may be. Now I also do this. I play Roger Federer in my mind. And guess what? Because it's my mind, I win every point. And yes, he gets upset sometimes, but I make sure I win every point. You do that. Whoever your opponent is, whatever it is that you're going towards. Now, you want to believe in your ability, right? So it's not that what Roger does matters. It's what I do that matters. And so Roger hits these amazing shots. I just hit better shots. So you do that against somebody that maybe you're having challenge winning against, or even somebody that you just feel that you want to win more against, or whatever it may be, or your team or whomever. And then in track, same thing. I mean, I'm not a track star by any means. Actually, that's my weakest area. I do it to support my tennis. And I actually shouldn't say weakest area. See, I'm not using amazing words myself because I'm denigrating myself, okay? And that doesn't serve me any good. Be always positive towards yourself. I should say, hey, I use my track and I'm getting a little better every time I go out because of all the mental performance and life skills that I'm using in tools and coaching and training. And, I'm getting a little better. And it helps my basketball tremendously. It helps my tennis tremendously. Those are amazing words. That's how you do it. And see, I even have to work on it sometimes because we think, oh, well, we're being honest. Well, you're being negative, okay? And I want you to switch that to amazing words, because when you do that, you'll transform or you'll experience things you've never experienced. This is also in your communication with people, your communication to yourself, your thoughts, and then your performance in general. And when you're even doing what it is that you need to do. So that's important and essential, okay? That is essential. And then so in track, I was challenged because I'm good at the 100 meter. I'm very good at 200 meter. That's my real one. But after that, I have to work on my stamina for the 400, the 800, and the mile. And of course, I can run all of those, and I can run a 5K. I can run a 10K. That's the furthest I've ever run. But I know that after that 200 meter mark, for whatever reason, it's as if my energy just goes away. My capacity to perform just goes away. And I don't know what to do. And I didn't know what to do, and I tried to eat right, and I do nutrition and things of that nature. And however, because I wasn't a track athlete, I'm still really learning the skills. I'm, still nurturing some of the technique and some of it is in development and some of it is in build. I don't think any of it's really in grow, maybe in the 200, because I can really run the 200 for whatever reason. I can run a 200. And so what I'm challenged is that at that 200 mark, you know, we can talk about the energy cycle and all of those things, and I understand all that research and everything, but really it comes down to mental performance skills. So what could I do as an intervention of mental performance skill? And so in my mind, even when I do that and I get to that 200 mark and the guy's in front of me and I pass him because I can run that 200, however, I get to that 200 mark, and even in my mind, when I'm doing these exercises, I slow down. Because that's what my body, my brain is used to. Okay, I've been doing that for a long time. Now, though, I added a technique. When I'm doing that, and I do it in my mind too, because I researched it and I learned and see what works for me. And that is to push with my knees forward really hard, right at that 200 mark. And once I do that, I go right through that energy zap. Or it's not even a real energy zap. My mind is thinking that, and there's a lot of biological reasons for that, but I'm not going to get into that. And that capacity that seems like is being diminished really isn't, because I'm putting that technique of pushing through with my knees forward like this. And so now in my mind, because I have that new technique, I'm able to do it. And of course, then I can get to the 600 or after the 200, after another 100 meters, I can float, right? So now I'm at 300 meters and I can float and really kick into the finish if I'm running the 400 meter. And so I have to understand what and really listen and understand what my body's saying, and then be able to have the right mental performance tool, intervention, technique, whatever it may be. And of course, as you do this repetitively, quality repetitions, not just repetitions, quality repetitions, it will make everything seem so easy. And eventually, it just becomes a part of your performance to where you don't even have to think about it. It is ingrained in your subconscious. And not only that, but it's also in your consciousness. And it's just a part of your ability now that you can really, really hone now and build or grow on it using your gifts, talents, and skills. And so that's the morning mental performance routine. Then, of course, I told you I had the physical performance routine, and that is to stretch, and then I go work on my ball handling. And if you've ever worked on ball handling in basketball, if you're doing that for more than 20 minutes, you get a pretty good workout, okay? And so that's what I do. And so next is do what you love. And I understand it's hard if you're an injured athlete and you're not able to do your sport. I was there. I had chronic pain. I would go to treatments and nobody could really do anything. They'd treat me and I'd lay off of it. And then when I went hard again, it would just come back. And I didn't know what to do for years. I really didn't. And then my coach gave me a book, or told me about a book, and I bought it, called Pain Free by Pete Egoscue. And ever since I started doing those exercises, it was the most amazing thing. Basically, the friction aligned by those exercises, and I stopped having chronic pain. And then I added a exercise functional physiology trainer, and I'm like doing so much better in all sorts of areas. Wrist injuries that I've had for years, my knees, my ankles. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And my shoulders, because they have that expertise. And so now, of course, I have an expertise, and that's what I'm saying is for you to reach out and get the help, the right help from someone like me. You know, contact me to help you with your mental performance, consulting, coaching, or training, those skills that are needed, and life tools and skills needed, because it makes a huge difference. So you can go much further than you could possibly imagine. And of course, for those using my workbook, you know you're evaluating yourself. However, you also need me to evaluate you, because I'm able to evaluate and look at it and observe in a different manner. And I have those advanced performance and life tools and skills. So that's essential. And so lastly, I want you at that capacity. So if you're saving 2 nanoseconds, 2 milliseconds, or 5 seconds, or a minute, or several minutes in your performance, that's a huge, huge breakthrough. You are experiencing intelligent breakthroughs. And that is how you set personal best records. That's how you ramp up your performance. And that is essential for you to be able to advance, right, to the next level, and then the next level, and the next level. And then I want to reemphasize, use amazing words. It will amaze you at how much worth that has in everything you do. Everything that you do, you will be just wow. Wow. And so that's what I have today. And use those amazing words. Realize that in relationships, sometimes things happen to where someone's not performing at the ability that they normally perform at. And use amazing words to help them, to be positive around them, so that they don't feel like they're letting you down or themselves down or the team down or your organization down. And you know, that's how you really develop and build and grow meaningful and trusting relationships. And so that's essential. If you need me to help you with this, please contact me. You know how to get in touch with me. And I hope you have your meaningful triggers for tonight. My 76ers didn't make it tonight, so I'm a little bit actually, I look at it in a positive way, is that they're mastering the process of becoming champions. I think they have all the players, the team, the coaches, the fans, everything, but they're just working through that. And as they master that process, that better outcome will definitely come, and they'll be a championship team. Now, that's just reality. And of course, there's going to be competition, but you know, you welcome the competition. I don't really look at them as competition. I look at them as peers, because we're learning from each other. So that's what I have today. Those are the 3 key things to give you a baseline to solve performance anxiety. And of course, for your unique situation, your team's unique situation, organization's unique situation, then I have the different ability to come in and assess and measure and really understand what your specific wants are, and then to solve your needs so that you can experience intelligent breakthroughs in your performance and life.